I recently posted a video that I created about remembering Sacred Circle, and it was a artistic, poetic expression of that with spoken word over the top of flashing images of circles in nature. But I was just coming outside to take a pause and acknowledge where I'm at in my living ceremony, and I got reminded of the energy of Sacred Circle and why that concept is so strong to me, because it feels so lost right now. It feels like we live in a world where people treat marriage, for example, like you're in chains. And a chain would say that there's like a link, and maybe it's, not a circle anymore, but there's like a pressure point or a weak spot that would cause an eventual crack and a break, rather than the strength of an actual circle. Like, people don't know what they're committing to, what they're actually in for in a union that is a sacred circle, in a vow. And that it's not necessarily an easy navigation in every moment, but in the long run, it kind of leans into the concept of many hands makes for light work. Because if we're all sharing more equally, then this concept of the circle is really strength, because no one is leading and no one is following. It's people being placed in the place that most resonates with their gifts, with their talents, with their offerings, with their service, with how they can be seen and show up, and also how they can have their privacy of like personal experience, the solo journey as well, that we all need to be connected with, because we are living in a world of duality. So it's important to honor that and recognize that, to inform us for place in the whole. But it got me thinking more too about what I'm experiencing right now, and how that sacred circle has different lenses of availability. Like, I'm feeling some sadness right now as my husband is getting ready to travel for 2 weeks without me. I could go, and that is, in my heart of hearts, I'm not feeling that calling right now. And so I've had to navigate being apart from him for the first time for 2 weeks since we've met. 13 plus years ago, I think. Which is no big deal for many people, but I have not experienced that situation with this relationship. And it is brushing up against fears of abandonment wounds. And that is showing up in sort of various places in my life right now. Recognizing my relationship to containership, and that I have now been in a community, in a container, where the person who formed the container left the container, as well as some of the other foundational people. Now, it's left is a loose word because the structure has changed, and you can't really take something away that has left an imprint or a legacy, or, you know, it's really talking about living in linear time versus living in the quantum. But I can feel the presence of that sadness, which also just is a reflection and an opportunity for me to recognize that another lens of the sacred circle is seasons and change is inevitable. So to want things to remain the same is not honoring the natural rhythms and flow of life, and in all of our need to honor what is most alive and what is most authentic to us, to our heart, to that calling, and that we want to change. I want to change, and I do want other people to change, because I want people to grow and to take the journey of life. I want to take the journey of life. So that brings me to another experience that I'm experiencing in my emotions right now of that sacred circle, which is the hollow bone. It's the ability to feel my sadness and my grief and let that expand, not to shove it down or hide it or try to cover it up or numb it, but to actually allow myself feel into the possibility of expanding that into the circle, to fill the space, to allow my experience to be full in the experience of sadness and grief, which does feel like a hollowing, but it also feels like a strengthening, like the sacred circle. If I allow myself the fullness and wholeness of my experience right now, then I can feel the hollowing out of me, because I'm not storing it in my body. And I can feel the edges of it, of where grief can only go so far in its expression. But in the witnessing of the expression and then the allowing of the expression, it also creates a strengthening in myself, in my freedom, in my ability to honor my experience, to honor my feelings, my emotions, and to express them honestly and authentically and truly. And in my mind's eye, in my experience, that feels like a sacred circle. It's also like the idea of what is in the circle and what is not in the circle. So what is in the sacred circle is the allowance of the pure expression of these emotions. And that creates also like a boundary of what isn't being allowed in, which is numbing or means of bypassing the experience. So that brought me here to this video, to the deepening of the sacred circle, and recognizing that though my previous share was beautiful, I will say I liked it. It was a beautiful expression of something that felt alive. There is also the honoring of the sacred circle, of this moment, of this distance, of this rotation between me sharing and you receiving, if, you know, however that works, and the raw vulnerability of expressing what the sacred circle means to me from this side of the lens, which is also beautiful, in that experience of pain, growth, expansion, and recognizing the invitation to continue to explore my allurement to sacred circle, to containership, and the opportunity right now to be the witness of that journey, to have that be alive in me. So just felt like I wanted to drop in and share. a little bit deeper.